Welcome back to the Tailgate Connect podcast. I'm your host, Luke Lorick with Tailgating Challenge. I love all things tailgating. And if you're here listening to this podcast, you must love tailgating too. In today's episode, we interview Allison with My Home Team Turf. She shares her true passion behind this very unique tailgating product that she has brought to market. And we talk about where we're going to be tailgating for National Tailgating Day. You're going to want to hear some of the details of this entrepreneurship journey and some tailgating tips along the way. All right, this episode of the Tailgate Connect podcast is brought to you by Drassi, the fantasy sports app that's changing the game. Forget drafting players. Drassi has you draft entire teams. Follow your favorites, build your squad, score points every time they do. Drassi is not a gambling platform. No bets, no wagering, whether it's college football, pro football, hoops, or baseball. Drassi brings the fun back to fantasy sports, and it's the perfect way to level up your next draft party. Download the Drassi free app on the App Store or Google Play and start drafting teams, not players.
Gather round tailgaters, hear the call, it's game day, y'all. Let's have a ball across the states from college to NFL. Tailgate Connect's got a story to tell.
All right, welcome back to the Tailgate Connect podcast. We're here today with Allison with My Home Team Turf. Allison, how goes it?
It goes. We're 3 weeks from kickoff, and it's the most wonderful time of the year. I feel like singing, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
I mean, I agree with that. We should probably all break out with our listeners right now singing the same thing because football is almost back, and that means our favorite sport of tailgating is about to be in full swing this fall. So I, too, am pretty excited about where things are going.
Absolutely.
All right. So, Allison, first off, let's talk about why you're here today. Again, you have a very unique and fun tailgating product. I have a couple of them here in my home, but I want you to tell the viewers about My Home Team Turf and why it needs to be a part of their tailgating rituals, game day experience, all of that good stuff.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much, Luke, for this opportunity. Well, very simply, My Home Team Turf is the first ever officially licensed sports turf, welcome mats, and rugs for tailgating and home decor to elevate those moments that matter in life. So if you're in Georgia on the pine needles or the mud in Clemson, if it rains, wherever you are in a parking lot in Tennessee, when you set up that tent, put your tables down, your chairs, your TV, and crack open that barbecue or get it going, My Home Team Turf is the foundation, reminding us with that Gamecock. You went to South Carolina, so with the Gamecock, don't make me not say it, but I'm going to say the paw right in the middle of your tailgating. But it's really, from an aesthetic standpoint, there's nothing like it in the world. And to bring that sports turf, the same material that's on the field. So to bring that game day feeling into your tailgate or into your home, to bring that game day feeling home. So if you can't go to the game or it's not on game day, because game day is 365. When you're a fan 24/7, 365, right?
Agreed, 100%. And so you were getting me excited a second ago. You say, when you crack open, you said the barbecue, I thought you were going with the cold beverage. I thought that's where we were going right there with it.
Well, I did open a White Claw earlier in honor of this situation because you told me to get my game day vibe on.
And she is. Hey, not everybody listens to me, but when they do, they're going to have a really good day. I can tell. So, Allison, with that, I know you have one of the samples. So for those watching this on YouTube right now, can you pull out one of the samples you have right now of My Home Team Turf?
Yes, I'm so excited. And I thought of you, Luke. So here you go.
Okay, I'm excited too. I think I might know what it is.
Go.
Oh boy, go Gamecocks. I love it. So tell us, like, what size is that one right there?
So the one that I was just holding up, we call this the baby. And it is a 20 by 30 welcome mat. And it's made of authentic sports turf by one of the leaders in sports turf in the world, made in Georgia. So our products are American made. And
Awesome.
our technology that we produce My Home Team Turf with, this particular, we call it our rookie season with My Home Team Turf. It's a printed technology. It's proprietary. And so it's basically, printed like an inkjet printer, but with turf and printing on turf. So we have 3 SKUs, the baby, a 4x6, which I know you have in a lot of your tailgate situations
Oh
that you
yeah.
do. And then we have the big daddy, which is the big daddy that goes underneath your tent, during tailgate or off season. You can put it on your back patio or in your backyard if you're having a party, if it's baseball season or another sport that you're celebrating, your alma mater.
Yeah, so I will say I have 2 of these in my home. I have one as a welcome mat, and also I haven't told Allison this before, but literally I used to switch out welcome mats at our home for the season. Not anymore. The Gamecock one stays up every single time now because I mean it looks so amazing. I'm saying that in transparency because to me I always look like it looks like the field. Like it looks like the actual field that like players would play on, which I think is a very cool aesthetic. And it's held up. Like I've had it out there for over a year and it still looks fresh and clean and all that good stuff representing the team out there. So again, I love mine.
So that is so great to hear. And that's exciting because one of the things that we pride ourselves when we took this product to market and created this whole new category, coming up with this idea because the market was missing, sports turf products in that game day or home decor setting, right? And this product, because it is authentic sports turf, we have a 3-year warranty. If you spill salsa or beer or ketchup or mustard from your dogs or whatever, all you do is you get a sponge and Dawn, you wash it off, take it outside, wash it off with a hose, and it's like brand new.
And I think that's good to note. Like, I haven't had any major spills on mine as of yet. But again, it is an indoor outdoor situation. So you can literally hose this down. Like, because again, a tailgating party, sometimes people have a little fun, right? And so there might be a little ketchup, mustard, maybe some drinks are spilled on there, but you shouldn't fear, and it shouldn't be a failgating moment. It could just be something as simple as a cleanup moment.
Look at you. Yes, absolutely. We're going to have to weave that into our marketing, Luke. Our,
Yeah,
a fail. What did you say?
failgating. It's
A
not tailgating, it's
failgating.
failgating. That's when things don't go right at the tailgate party.
Uh, that would never happen at a tailgate. Tailgate is for happiness and excitement and energy and just like moments that matter, right?
I agree, but so like as we get closer to the season, I make the joke this time every year is that like, hey, now make sure you're practicing your tailgating. It's kind of like the athletes have to get kind of warm back up in fall camp going into because tailgating is a sport. Don't go out there because then you'll start spilling everything. You could pull a hammy out there, so make sure you do a little bit of tailgate training before the actual season starts.
That's true. Tailgating is something that I was thinking about today before this podcast. And, growing up in the South in a small town right outside of Charlotte, we grew up, whether cheering for Clemson, the South Carolina Gamecocks, or the Georgia Bulldogs, and a rare occasion, University of North Carolina Tar Heels, right?
Yep.
So we grew up always thinking about celebrating Saturday. Who are we cheering for? And you start getting ready for what you're going to have at your tailgate or at your party at home, like Sunday night. It's like you go to church, you have Sunday lunch, then you start thinking about, okay, who's bringing the weenies, who's bringing the nachos, who's bringing the beer, who's bringing what, and all of that. So, tailgating it's like throwing a party every weekend. And the aesthetics of tailgating are so important. And that's one of the things that, meeting you've been so amazing and bringing so much energy to My Home Team Turf and really, inspiring me and just to, keep us going when, we had moments that we didn't want to. But, it's really exciting when we can, get our product within a tailgate environment. And because our products make a difference, it's like it's like wearing the right shoes, wearing the right coat. to throw in a party, and you can't really have, garnet and black and throw in some orange in your decor.
Don't do it. Don't do
Don't do it. But it's all about aesthetics, and my home team turf, it's not a need. My home team turf is a want. You have to want to elevate your tailgate by bringing my home team turf products into your tailgate or your home. And that's one of the things that, we're 3.5 years in, and how do we let fandom know across the country about my home team turf, and, showing them how aesthetically pleasing, like a before and after, and, rolling it up and having like its own custom case so it doesn't get the inclement elements of outdoor in your car. So you can just take it from the tailgate to your car to your garage, then back in your car to tailgate the next weekend. So we've really thought about a lot of things, but it just, when you see that garnet and black, or the Georgia Bulldog or the Clemson paw, it's more than that tailgate. It's more than that Saturday, because you started being a fan way before that Saturday. And fandom is generational, or it's learned. And it's generational because of generations of going to that school or cheering for that school or cheering for that team. Or it's learned because, you were a stranger and you met someone, or your spouse went to that school or something. So you learn to be a fan of, basically, we're cheering for Pantone colors, right? Because many, many times fans never get to meet the athletes on the field or the court or in the swimming pool. They're cheering for garnet and black. They're cheering for orange and purple. They're cheering for red and black. They're cheering for basically Pantone colors. And that's what the heart of my home team turf means. It's not about winning or losing. It's about, when you see those colors, when you see that alma mater, the gamecock or the paw, the bulldog, I use that only as an example, is that it means something to you. You remember when you got your acceptance or your denial, when the first time you walked on campus and met your first friend, or went to your first football game, or met your first roommate, or went to your class and met your teacher for the first time. And those are all things that are the heart of my home team turf. It's not just about selling a rug, or, our turf products, or, getting our product into this store. It's about what our products really mean when you see it, because we want them to mean something to you, and we want them to evoke a feeling and remind you of a moment that really mattered. And that's the heart of my home team turf. So,
Now, Allison, when you talk about invoking emotions, I can feel some emotions coming from you right now as you talk about it.
I just, it's been a journey, and I look at my home team turf, and, meeting you, when I first met you, like when I started this journey, and I was trying to come up, like when I saw the opportunity and started researching, and I'm like tailgating, and, being a cheerleader my whole life. And like I said, growing up in the South, and, always cheering for my teams all the way through college. And, some of my happiest moments have been on game day, and not necessarily with the team that I was cheering for, but it's when I went to a football game by myself or a basketball game by myself, and I met a stranger, and strangers became my friends, and some of those friends have become my family. And I think that those are some of the things that I really look at what my home team turf means. And it's that it brings people together that didn't know, that before they might have met you on Saturday, you could have been walking by a tailgate and someone goes, "Oh, hey, you got a beer," or "Hey, or you got a hot dog," or da 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 da. And next thing you know, your best friend, you're like, "All right, I'll see you next Saturday." Then we all disperse and go back home, go back to our work and live our lives. And a lot of times, game days are the happiest days of many people. And we live for game days because, it makes us happy, and it forgets it makes us forget, like, what our 9 to 5 jobs are, or our grind, or our bills that we're having to pay. And, we look to those times that we go out on tailgating, at a game. That's why football season, it's so exciting, I think, to so many people, because it's times that brings people together, whether you're at a bar or at a home or at a game, right? And that's what tailgating, that's why I think my home team turf, it's so important, like, to have this conversation. And, like you, when I was researching, I was trying to tell you that, I was like, tailgating, sports turf, welcome mats, tailgating, da da da. And then all of a sudden I see National Tailgating Day, and I'm like, National Tailgating Day. And then I research and I'm like, Luke Lorick, why did you like National Tailgating Day? And so I wrote it down in my notes, and then I remember calling my colleagues at the CLC and going, did you guys know that there's a National Tailgating Day? And they're like, no, we have Color Day, but we don't have National Tailgating. And I'm like, there's this guy out there. And I said, my home team turf. And then like a year later, I meet you because I just randomly saw your social media, and we've gotten to know each other. And, you bring so much to, like, make me want to make my home team turf more than I could ever imagine, because these are happy days, and tailgating is fun, and
Agreed.
tailgating, it's fun. And, I look at it and it's like being a fan. And I try to always find, like, a reason, like, what can we learn? How can we, what is really, again, my home team turf, the foundation and our mission? And, I look and I go, I always turn it back with, like, all of these opportunities now, and working with athletes, like our brand ambassadors, right? And I go, we put a lot of emphasis on athletes, and what, how we look at them and what they give to us. And I flipped it around a couple weeks ago. I was, like, in my meditation, just trying to game days in 6 weeks. Oh my gosh, we got to get ready, But I start thinking, like, my home team turf, tailgating. We are the fan. We are the fan. Fans buy tickets. They buy hot dogs and beers and peanuts. They put fans or butts in the seats. And I started thinking, what does fandom learn from fans? Fans are resilient, they're loyal, they're committed. And those are, like, characteristics of a fan. And what part of my home team turf, really, we focus on the fan too, because they're resilient. When you're winning, great. When you're losing, you're still a fan. You might not be happy about it, but you're still a fan. And those are life lessons, right? And it's just like my home team turf. There's lessons every day. We are 3.5 years in. We have a long way to go. And, there's always going to be tailgating. Tailgating isn't going anywhere.
Nope.
But working with you and your team, and you seeing our vision and feeling our heart, and, giving us an opportunity to just, introduce ourselves to the world of tailgating when I'm not pulling my wagon through college game days, and walking up to random people that I don't know. It's really exciting, and I'm super grateful for this opportunity to chat with you and get to know you too, and all the things that you bring to the table for tailgating. Like, you are a ball of fire and an energy that is, unmatched. And the world needs to know about you as well.
Oh boy, now you're getting me. I'm about to blush over here, Allison. I appreciate all those all those kind words. And I'll say another thing about the fans: we remain eternally hopeful, especially this time of year. Everybody's record's 0-0. So it's like,
Exactly.
this could be the year. It's like no matter how bad last year was, this time of year, you kind of wash all the last year off. You get through the summer, and it's like, maybe it is. Maybe it's our year. And as a Gamecock fan, I've said that many times in my lifetime. It's like, wait till next year, right? That's our eternal slogan in football. Hey, but this year I'm like, maybe there's a chance. That's what fan, we love it.
I did see on social media this morning for a brief that ESPN Game Day, Pat McAfee did a whole tribute to South Carolina. He got up with your mascot and stood up on top of the desk and got
Oh,
the
yeah.
crowd all going. So I don't know. I know the first 2 weeks they're in they're LSU and Clemson, and then they're going to Texas with the Ohio State game. But
Oh, yeah.
we need to find out if Game Day is going to be in South Carolina.
Well, it probably depends on how South Carolina does this year as they get their schedule going, but we shall see. There's possibility. It's
They
possibility.
have some really good leaders on that team. And Beamer's like really, I know he's working really hard and the team's working really hard. And we work with a couple of the athletes on the Gamecocks. So I know that they've been working really hard and they're very fierce.
Yeah, shout out to Big Mo over there. I got to meet him when I
Big
was back in
Mo,
town.
number
He's a
44.
force. He's a force
Number
over there. So, and
44.
I asked him a question when I was there. I said, Big Mo, I said, what's the record going to be 2026? He said, undefeated, just without blinking. I was like, I will take it.
Mic drop. That's
Oh, good stuff.
let's go, Mo.
Exactly. So, Allison, tell me this: like, as a businesswoman, what would you say so far in your 3.5 years of doing My Home Team Turf? What has been your biggest win? Your bright spots? You're like, man, I just feel so good about blank that's happened with the business.
Wow. Today, I would say my biggest my biggest positive winning moment it's a combination of being in the sports industry and licensing space for 30 years,
Sure.
having the leaders in the industry of licensing that decide what products get to go to market and what products don't get to go to market, and having the leaders in the industry and some of the top buyers at some of the biggest retailers in the country endorse My Home Team Turf and be on this journey with us and guide us and mold us and help us build it. Having endorsements like that has showed me that we have something unique and it's the first to market. We've created a whole new category. No one has ever been able to do this before, and I've done it. And I've achieved it to this moment with the support of the industry's leaders of product categories.
Beautiful. No, I love to hear that. Now, the other one I really love to hear from business owners. What's been your biggest like learning experience through this? Because no doubt, as an entrepreneur going through the journey, if you're doing it right, you're probably learning a lot. And so tell us, what's one thing you would tell your past self 3.5 years ago? If you could tell your past self something, what would you tell them?
Oh no, don't do it.
That bad?
Drink. um, I would say when you believe in something, keep going. I would say to myself 3.5 years ago, you did the right thing. You listened, you asked the right questions, you surrounded yourself with people that could help you have answers, find answers. And I would say to that person 3.5 years ago, I know it's hard. It's going to be really hard. You're going to have moments when you want to quit. You're going to cry your eyes out. You're going to hide under the bed, which I've done all of those things. I would say keep going because one day you are a category creator. You're first to market. You have 30 years of experience in consumer products, marketing, licensing, and brand development. You're going to do it. It might not happen in 3.5 years. It might not happen in 4 years. But one day you are going to be, My Home Team Turf is going to be a household name. Just keep going.
I love it. That's my mentality every single day with what I do. It's like keep going. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, but if you believe in something, and I know from just people that have listened so far, they can probably hear the enthusiasm and passion in your voice. Like if you have that passion, you won't lose. It just might take longer than you want it to.
I think that that's like the hardest thing. And, it's everyone thinks it's so easy. And, I've had my other business for 26 years. And when I came up with this idea and saw the opportunity, I had quick success because of my expertise in licensing and marketing and consumer products and with my relationships. All of my relationships couldn't believe that no one had ever done this. So everybody was all in and wanting to support me because I'm creating this category, right? And they all knew that if anybody was going to figure it out, I was going to figure it out. And so I think right now we've climbed the mountains. We're at another mountain, and then there's a bigger mountain ahead of me tomorrow.
Sure.
But I know with having people like you on my side and your team on my side and the MLB on my side and Fanatics and all the buyers around the country, they see the opportunity. They know that we're figuring it out and trying to get a new product, creating a category, an American-made product with a medium that is expensive to make, educating the fan why it is what it is and what it means to have our products in their home. So it's not gonna happen this season, but we're gonna look at this season as a building block on the blocks that we've already been building. And we're going to choose our colleges, with some of the relationships that we have and working with some schools where we have some overlay of relationships, whether it's athletes or alumni or retailers. And we're going to go in and we're going to do activations and we're going to do them together, you and I. And we're really going to look at 2027. And if we get really lucky, great. But, there's going to be a time when the consumer is going to have to decide if they want to support this brand, whether it's buying the baby at an American-made price or buying it at a price made in China, and we really don't want to do that. But, we have to look at all of our options because at the end of the day, it's not about selling a rug. It's not about selling a welcome mat. Yes, we want to, but when you see our product, we want you to know that you're buying value, you're buying quality, you're buying a product that's been curated from the heart, that's never been done before. It's made in America by men and women like you and I, pushing fabrics through the sewing machine, going home and barely getting by and going to work the next day and going back and sewing labels on the back of my home team turf. And they're made here. And those people are fans. And so it might not happen this year, but we keep climbing mountains and having this opportunity to talk to you and have you support us in the way that you do. It's just every time I see a post where you're promoting a game and you have our product in your set, it just means the world to me. And I'm super grateful that you believe in us so much, Luke.
No, like I said, it's a quality product. I think that's the one thing that is like when you see it and touch it and feel it, you're like, I get it. Right. So I think it's just continuing to get it out there for us. So hopefully those that are listening this far into the show are like, maybe I need to go take a look at my tailgating setup. So with that though, let's talk about tailgating now, because again, I know you've pushed and pulled your wagon around different tailgates. So Allison, tell us your favorite school to go tailgating at. If you see it on the schedule and you're like, you could get back to it, what's your favorite one that you've been to?
Right off the top of my head, it is Tennessee. There is nothing like the Vol Navy. And the Vol Navy, like everybody kept like, and I've been in college sports pretty much my whole career. And, they're like, have you ever gone to Tennessee? You've got to go there, right? So we went there when Tennessee played Alabama. It was a great matchup. And the Vol Navy is tailgating on steroids. infused with country music, spritzers, cowboy boots, cowboy hats, and the heart of America. I would go there one. That's my number one. Because I love country music,
Sure.
and I'm like, that would be number one. That comes to mind right off the top of my head.
Yeah, Tennessee's very unique too because they have the river right there. So again, when you say the Navy,
Exactly.
there's legitimately you can do sailgating at the University of Tennessee, which is very unique.
Exactly. And we were there, and it was really great when we were there. We got invited to go out to the sailgating area. There's this restaurant and bar. I forget the name of it, but they invited us out, and it was right after Tennessee. I think they won the NCAA baseball, or they
Yep.
came in second, right? But there was like all the baseball players were there, and they're just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And we got to meet them, and, we're pulling our wagon between all the yachts and everything. And the Morgan Whalen plane and the Spitzers flying. And yeah, it's nothing like I've ever experienced before in tailgating. It's completely different than, like, Clemson. And then there's nothing like South Carolina. It's just tailgating is so unique. I think that, we all are passionate about our schools, but it's really cool to see the heart and soul of tailgating across college football. There's nothing like it. And everybody, that's their number one. But it's
Yep.
really cool to see what fuels the hearts and souls of each. I've been so privileged. My home team turf has given me a lens into college football. I think when you're on the business side of sports like this, you get a lens into what college football looks like outside of who you cheer for on game day. And I just honestly feel like the luckiest girl in the world. I just truly feel so amazed and blessed.
So, Allison, one thing I picked up on that I was like, man, I must not be living my life right because people haven't invited me to their yachts as of yet to go tailgating. So I got to step it up.
We got to focus on Tennessee. We got to reach out to those balls.
Oh man, but no, like one of their things too, because like you said, like the fans are really passionate about their school, and growing up, I was like, it's all University of South Carolina, Williams-Brice tailgating, it's the best, and again, I still love it, but I think getting into this tailgating space and going to games where I didn't have a rooting interest in the game, I could look at it from a clear lens, and I could see like there's some really, really amazing different tailgating traditions and fans out there when you take yourself out of just saying my school's the best and I can't even think about anybody else, like there's some epic ones out there. So I appreciate you sharing that one. And I'm going to ask you the next question. What's one school you haven't been to a tailgate before that you really want to go to?
There's two. One is University of Texas, and the other is LSU. So we're going to go to LSU on September
LSU
5th.
this year, National
So
Tailgating Day. I'm going.
that's one of them. And then the other one is Texas. I really want to try to work it out that we go to Texas when they play Ohio State. I think because she's from Texas, I can tell by the way.
That's the White Claw kicking in right there, people, if you're wondering.
No, I haven't even drank it, but I need to. Texas is one because when, just from my travels and whatnot, I love Texas. I'm from the South, and I grew up a Dallas Cowboy fan before there were Panthers. I was a Dallas Cowboy fan, and I have a lot of friends that are from Texas. And when we were at the Michigan Texas game a year and a half ago, we happened to be sitting in the section with all the Texas
Right.
fans that, flew in on their private planes and, whatnot. And just you talk about what fuels their soul of their fandom for their school. And I went to college to be I was a broadcast journalism major. I wanted to be Phyllis George. I wanted to be, in this day and age, I wanted to be Katie Feeney on the side of
Oh,
the
she's
right.
crushing it.
And so that's why I went to college. And so, I was feature editor in high school. And, I think growing up, and with a single mom, that raised my sister and I, and, we didn't really have a father in our home. And, I learned about sports through my grandfather and my father. And that's how I communicated a lot, is through sports and talking sports, watching TV, reading the newspaper, and I think that when I go to these schools, like in the past, I love, like you said, you look at it from a different lens. I remember in South Carolina, we walked up, Serena and I, there was this woman that had a chandelier in her
Fancy.
tailgate footing print. So fancy. And I love chandeliers, right? And I walked up to her and I pulled my wagon. We started talking. And what I love, Luke, is asking the questions that other people don't ask and finding out, like, who's in their tailgate. Why are they a fan? Like, how did they become a fan? Who was their most important role model? Who introduced them to the South Carolina Gamecocks? What did they study there? What do they do now? How do they infuse those traditions? Like, do they know the fight song? Like, all these questions. And I learned a couple fight songs. Don't ask me to sing one right now. But you find out what really fuels the soul, and fandom is real. Fandom is not one school. Fandom is a community of people that share a feeling on game day for whatever school or team that they cheer for. Fandom is a feeling and a community. And that's what I love about fandom. And that's what my home team turf is. I get asked that question all the time, especially with Major League Baseball, because we're licensed with MLB. And it's like, who do you cheer for? There's 30 teams, right? And I live in LA now, but I'm a Dodger fan. I cheer for the Dodgers. Of course I cheer for the Dodgers, right? But I also respect my friends that are in Boston. I respect my friends live in Chicago, that they played for Chicago. I went to Pepperdine. So I have a lot of friends that played professional baseball, which are now coaches in the collegiate space, which is really cool. And so in sports, you have who you cheer for on game day, like my Panthers, like my Clemson Tigers, but you also you respect you respect the landscape of sports, and you respect the landscape of fandom and what fandom means to each and every one of us.
No doubt, no doubt. You're getting me fired up for the season now because I'm ready to go see some fandom in action to get mine going
Yes.
as well too. All right,
Ah.
so speaking of tailgating, I ask every guest on the show these three questions. Number one, if money was no object, what are you eating on game day? You don't have to cook it. You don't have to pay for it. In a perfect world, what is on your tailgating food plate game day?
Lobster, refried beans, and flour tortillas, and champagne.
All right, so I'm here. So lobster tacos, I'm assuming that's where you're going with it.
Well, it's a delicacy. And when I go to Mexico, which is rare, but I love lobster with refried beans and flour tortillas and champagne.
Okay. And so does it have to be the real champagne from Champagne, or can it be just a sparkling?
It can be champagne and it should have an orange label.
Why'd you have to say orange like that? I feel like that was like a subtle dig into like some type of fandom.
Oh, but you know what? It's not. It's Veuve Clicquot. Veuve Clicquot is my favorite champagne, and it has an orange label.
Okay. See, this is the reason why I don't get invited on yachts, because I didn't even know what that meant.
Let me show you.
Okay. She's going to go grab it now. I love it. We're over here learning about champagne. You never know where the show's going to take you.
And we're not going to open it.
Okay. I feel like I've seen that before with it. So good stuff. Now we know exactly the bottle. So right after the show, that bottle was going to.
No. But you asked me if money was no object,
Yeah.
what foods would I have? And that just came to mind. I don't know why, but it just did.
That's fair. That's fair. So I was going to ask, the next question is what's in your cup? But I think you just told us what's in your cup with the champagne with the orange label.
Well, there's champagne in this that is not open, and we will not open it tonight.
Okay.
And water is in my Dodger water bottle. And then I have my White Claw here that I haven't even taken one sip of that I will drink after this podcast.
Okay. So the last question on there is what is your favorite tailgating game to play on game day?
I don't really play games on tailgating.
Play the games. I'm focused.
But there's drinking games. So if there's
Sure.
if there's a fireball involved, then I'm all in for a drinking game. But and cornhole, always cornhole.
And
But
make a
always
drinking game
fireballs.
with cornhole, and there you go.
There you go. There you go.
Beautiful. All right. So we got lobster, champagne, and fireball. So it's going to be a pretty wild tailgating party, it sounds like.
Yeah, we might have to bring some of that to LSU and Clemson on National Tailgating Day.
I like it. I like it. All right. So you mentioned LSU was one of the places you wanted to go, and that is going to be National Tailgating Day, September 5th this year, Clemson versus LSU. What excites you about the matchup and about the venue of tailgating?
What excites me about the matchup, it's Tiger versus Tiger, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's an opportunity for a tiger to defeat the other tiger, because the last time the Tigers went against the Tigers, one of the Tigers won and one of them didn't. And before that, one of the Tigers won the national championship and the other Tiger didn't. So now it's going to be another Tiger is going to win and another Tiger isn't. So I'm excited to see which Tiger is going to take over the Tiger Den. That's number one.
The Battle of Death Valleys, too, if you think about it.
I know. That was my number 2, Tiger versus Tiger.
Oh, I stole it from you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I know. Listen, we were at that game when LSU won in Louisiana. That was really sad. It was really sad. But and then the second part, why am I excited to go to LSU? Because in the world of tailgating, you hear it's like all the rumbling. There's no place like the South in college football. There's nothing like the SEC in college football, synonymous. There's nothing like the SEC college football and a tailgate at LSU in Baton Rouge.
At nighttime on National Tailgating Day.
National Tailgating Day. Right.
It's going to be crazy.
Look, I've got my calendar out already. I've got here we go. We got National Tailgating Day right here. National Tailgating Day.
She's showing the National Day calendar right now that might have my picture on there as well, too, sitting in a tailgating chair that's way too big
right
for
there.
me, but it's fun.
Right there.
Beautiful.
Yeah. But right here, National Tailgate Day. Right there.
What other days does National Tailgating Day share with?
Let me put my glasses on. National Tailgating Day. Oh, it is. This is really interesting. Be late for something day.
Don't be late for tailgating.
Don't be late for tailgating. Cheese pizza day.
Okay, I could do that.
Hummingbird day. Now, hummingbirds are good luck, and hummingbirds are a sign of change and opportunity. So I think we need to marinate on this because it is the Lion's Portal on the 12th. So we need to write these marinating things down and think about how we can, bring some of the cheese pizza and don't be late and the hummingbird energy and Tiger versus Tiger and have my home team turf products in the tailgate. And let's get on game day. Let's ESPN game day.
Yes.
Pat, let's go, Pat.
Come on, Pat. Return my DMs.
Pat. Come on, Pat. We're gonna have to send him something like Tiger versus Tiger.
Agreed. So I don't know, because I feel like in the Bayou, the Cajuns, they do some really unique tailgating food. I'm like, how do you take a cheese pizza and turn it Cajun? There's probably a way, but it might be above my pay grade on how to do it.
Isn't there Cajun pizza?
Again, I didn't know about the orange label. There's a lot I'm still learning about in life, it sounds like.
And it's only Monday.
It's only Monday. I got a long ways to go.
We'll have to look into that.
We will. We
We'll have to
will.
look into that.
All right. So, Allison, with that, let me ask you one more question before we wrap here. Who's the, aside from me, who's the coolest person you've met in this tailgating journey with My Home Team Turf? Because I've seen some really cool pictures that you put with some pretty notable people.
Well, I don't think that I could choose one. I would have to, I guess that I would have to say 4.
Or
Yeah.
she's ducking the question, you can tell.
Yeah, I can't choose one. I would say if I had to choose one, I would choose meeting Miss Peggy. Meeting Miss Peggy in
For those that
Colorado.
don't know, who is Miss Peggy, for those that don't know?
Miss Peggy is a longtime fan. Her sister Betty, who's passed away of pancreatic cancer several years ago, Miss Peggy is the longest standing fan in Colorado. And she is 101. She's going to be 102 this year in October, I believe. And she's really good friends with Dion. She has her own NIL contract. And I got to meet Miss Peggy, and Miss Peggy loves My Home Team Turf. She has it in her house. But more importantly, when we've talked on the phone a couple of times and our conversations are always fueled with faith and God. And, we'll say scriptures to each other, and she'll tell me, some meaningful moment that she had with her sister at tailgating and why she and her sister used to go to all the basketball games and the football games, and, black and gold were their like colors. And I've just loved to get to know her through her really good friend, Eddie, who's kind of like works with her. But the other three people that I just want to say has been really cool is meeting Coach Prime. And I got to meet Coach Prime, and it was on a really pivotal day. We were in Colorado, and it was the beginning of the season. And, when you start, like when you're an entrepreneur and you pull that wagon the first time and you don't know what's ahead of you, right? You just know that you're supposed to be where you are. And I read and I went online and I, had his scripture, and he had this beautiful scripture, and it was all about opportunity and never giving up, and always know that God is with you, and just always live by faith, not by sight. And then I met him the next day at the pep rally. And it was just overwhelming. And, I told him and I showed him his scripture, and I said, I liked your scripture. And I said, that's me. I commented, and he gave me a hug, and he loves our product. And then I had the privilege of meeting Coach Gruden, who we did a product for. We did a custom turf football field for him.
I saw that one.
And
Pretty cool.
he was just so gracious, beyond unsolicited graciousness, just showed me just incredible grace. And then my 4-pod meeting was I got to meet Peter in Ohio State. And that was really cool. So those are my top 4, just right off the top of my head.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, hopefully a lot more fun people to cross paths with, different tailgates to go to, and get out there and spread the gospel of My Home Team Turf as well. So, Allison, as we wrap up here, I want you to tell one more time, where can people find you? And then one more time, why do people need My Home Team Turf at their home gating and tailgating parties?
Where fandom can find My Home Team Turf currently today is on myhometeamturf.com. We have our college rookie collection, and we're getting ready to introduce our new college collection for some of the schools that we don't have, for like LSU and a few others. And what was the second part of the question? And why should they have My Home Team Turf?
Yeah. Why does it matter?
The reason that My Home Team Turf, that fandom should have My Home Team Turf in their tailgate or home, is to be part of the fabric of who they cheer for on game day, and to know that they're bringing something that has heart, was made with heart, curated with heart, and reminds them of who they cheer for on game day 24/7, 365, and be the envy of their neighbors, be the envy of the tailgaters next door, because who doesn't want to elevate their tailgate and have everybody want what you have? So be if you ain't first, you're last. So be the first. MyHomeTeamTurf.com.
So I'm hearing if you have My Home Team Turf at your tailgate, you might make more friends.
You might, because people are going to come in and go, oh my gosh, like I'm not going to get my shoes dirty. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. This is awesome. This really completes the aesthetic. Wow, I feel like I'm on the field. Where'd you get it?
Amazing. Exactly. And it feels good on even if you have bare feet. Trust me, I tested it with bare feet as well, too. So again, awesome stuff out there. Allison, thank you so much for being on the show this evening. We appreciate you. We appreciate everyone else that listened to the very end of this. And note, while we're going to LSU for National Tailgating Day, you can go to tailgateconnect.com to get those tailgating tickets, because you might just see us at one of these tailgates that tailgateconnect.com has for you. And they also have ones like Allison wants to go to. Texas is another big school that Tailgate Connect has. So again, check them out and all your tailgates for college football, NFL football. We're adding more hosts all the time. Easy button tailgating, all-inclusive food, drinks, and fun. And you never know what friends you might make at a tailgate. Thanks for tuning in. I hope to see you at a tailgate soon.
Tailgate Connect.